This was me when I was, I think, 12. And a lot of my artwork has a lot to do with my own history. When I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with an eye disease. It's called dominant optic optotrophy. It runs in my family. My grandfather has the same eye disease, and he's an artist. And out of 12 grandchildren, I got it, and I'm the only one that's an artist, so I think it's an artist thing.
Okay.
But it has to do with the optic nerve, and not the lens of the eye. So there's no cure right now for it. And there's just not enough blood that goes through the optic nerve. So my vision is very pixelated. I have holes throughout what I see every day. So like I can see your face very clearly, but the next row and the following row, you're very blurry. So, and this is something that I've always had to deal with. Going through school, I had very large print books, so that I could see things. I had to sit in front of the classroom. I had big print textbooks and tests, and I'm also dyslexic on top of it, so I had extra time on tests. And throughout school, that's probably how I see right now. If you see me working in the office, I'm like so close to my computer screen, and it's very large. But throughout school, it was very difficult to get the accommodations I needed. And the only reason I think that I was able to get certain things was because my mom is a teacher, and so she knew my rights as a student. So we've actually had to get a lawyer and sue certain schools because I've had teachers that just said, I have an English teacher, say, why am I going to accommodate you? Because the world isn't going to accommodate you. So I'm going to teach you a lesson in my classroom. I've also had teachers tell me I'm not going to be able to go to college because college professors won't accommodate me either. So it was interesting growing up. I think because I couldn't see the board most of the time, I always kind of felt stupid. I was never naturally smart. It was always something that I had to work for, and I think my vision played a huge part in that. So there's that. At the same time that I was diagnosed with this disease, my father started me painting. He's an artist as well, very traditional. Very technical, so I learned about shading and perspective. And it took me 4 years to finish my first art piece, and it wasn't very big, and it was all pointillism, and I think that had something to do with it too. It took me so long. But he started to do art with me, and I had an art teacher who said, oh, you can't be an artist, you're going blind. So I stopped doing art for a long time because I had this 7th grade art teacher tell me I couldn't do it. So I was looking for something else. I wasn't doing well in school. I couldn't be an artist. What were my other options? And we got something in the mail that was Hawaiian beauty pageant for kids. And I said, I can do this. All I have to do is walk across the stage. So I begged my mom to sign me up. Please sign me up. And I was always naturally girly, so this was, you got to do your hair and your makeup, and this would be fun. My mom did not want to sign me up because she's a hardcore feminist. No, we're not going to do this. You don't need to wear makeup. You're 12. I don't believe in pageants. No. So after a couple years, maybe 14, after still saying, please mom, let me do it, I want to try it, she finally said, fine, we'll sign you up, I'm just gonna come with you and try and support you. I think a lot of it was my dad saying, she wants to do it, support her. So my mom and I went to my first pageant. It was infant baby pageant to 25-year-old. There was a huge age range. Very, what you think of when you watch, what's that pageant reality?
Tiara.
Toddlers in Tears, very much like that.
Oh my God.
Go up on stage. One of the art pieces that I have in my studio has the program book, and it tells you exactly the ages and what the judges at the time were judging you on. And it was like 50% facial beauty and 20% posture, and it was all physical. There was no interview, there was no onstage question, nothing. You go up on stage, look at me, and we'll judge you. So I did that for a while, while I was in high school. By the time I was 16, 17, was a good year because I decided that most adults just didn't know what they were talking about. And because of that, because I was at that age, I decided to do art again. I started to paint.
Were you successful in the pageant world?
At that time, I was pretty successful. Nothing major, but I had a lot of trophies from my Hawaiian Tropic days. I'd won one local title. And I was still doing pageantry, I was doing cheerleading, so I was always just very, very girly. And my mom is not girly at all. She grew up as a tomboy, so I think God thought it would be funny to give her me. Here, have this child. So, because she even talks about how she never ever went to football games and hated the cheerleaders when she was in high school, and now, because I was a cheerleader, she had to go to every game, every cheerleading competition. But yeah, 16, 17, started painting like crazy. I just decided this was my thing. I probably made about 200 pieces within 2 years. I would sit in my room and listen to Harry Potter on Audible or audio tapes at the time, because reading was hard for me to do, but I loved books, so I would listen to books for hours and just paint, and I would paint watercolor and oceans, and I would look at other people's paintings and then try and paint those paintings. And when I'm teaching art classes, that's the best way to learn. Look at how an artist uses paint and try and replicate it. So when I was 18, I had my first art show at the Palmdale Playhouse and sold pretty much half of my pieces, which was great for me at the time. I got a scholarship to Cal State Bakersfield. I had applied to other schools, but I never tested well. My grades were good. By that time, my grades were pretty good, but my SAT score wasn't great, so the only school I got into was Cal State Bakersfield, which was okay, because my older brother was going there too, and they gave me a scholarship for art. Went there, ended up being president of the Art League, working at the art gallery there, doing sorority. So I had a lot of opportunity because I went to such a small school. And at this time I was still painting pieces like, pieces like this, where it's just very traditional aesthetics. This was my little sister. It was a commission for my grandmother, and to get ready for the talk, I stole it from her house and left her a sticky note. We'll return Emily. So it wasn't until my very last semester when I had a teacher from who had went to Yale for her master's degree. And she was my thesis teacher, and she said, yeah, this is great, this is nice, you obviously can paint, but what's the point? What's it saying? Why painting? Like, you'll be okay painting like this, you'll sell things, but I feel like you have more to say, and you're an artist, so use your art to say something. So, in the last semester, I made very giant, these are probably 6 foot by 4 feet, oil on canvas. And I knew, hopefully shouldn't offend anyone, it's not meant to.
I bet your mom liked those.
What?
Did your mom like those?
My mom did. Grandma did not like it. My grandmother.
Oh.
I have one of the queen I don't think I put in. And she can't stand that piece. But I knew that I wanted to paint something to do with women. I rarely painted men. They, for some reason, weren't interesting to me. And I think because I didn't know what it was like to be a man, I couldn't make that connection. I had brothers and my father, and I loved men, but I couldn't paint them. There was not that connection. I felt like I was painting something other than me.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew that magazine covers at the time, I just collected a bunch of them because I really enjoyed reading through magazines and seeing the new trends. So I knew that I was being affected by these things that I bought every month, but I loved to buy them. And I would just eat up the diet tips and the makeup tricks and all of that. So this was really the time when I started to question all of these things that were being fed to me as a woman, the advertisements. And for these pieces, I wanted to use women that I respected, but I wanted to show them in a way that they aren't normally seen. So Hillary Clinton and Oprah have never been considered sex symbols. But for me as a woman, if I was to think about the roles, the categories that I was defined to at that time, was, you had to be beautiful and sexy, you had to be a homemaker, you had to cook, you had to be nurturing, a mom, all these different categories, and I wanted to kind of put these women into these categories, and how would that look like if Hillary Clinton was like every other woman that we see on a magazine cover at that time. What would she look like? How would she be posed? If she was a homemaker, what would she be wearing? So I was questioning the women's roles, and I was using also, each of these covers have a quote that Hillary or Oprah actually said. There's 10 of these that I made. These were in my bachelor thesis show. So that's really what I was working on at that time. There's a few more. And so these ones were what I graduated school with. And the rest of them were the 2 years that I worked here, because when I graduated from Cal State Bakersfield, I did apply to grad school. And I didn't get in because I applied with things like that. And I was rejected to all of them. So I spent some time working with artists here, Arlene Mead, and she really helped me kind of, well, this is what you need to apply to grad school. You need pieces that are more like this, rather than that. So this is Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga. And so they're all women that we see all the time, but I wanted to again change how we normally see them and incorporate issues that we were starting to face at the time. So women in the military, were just able to be on the front lines, and so I really wanted to reflect those kind of new changes in my art pieces as well. So there's one thing I forgot to tell you. When I was in my undergrad at Bakersfield, I was still doing pageants at the time, and I did the Miss Bakersfield pageant, and that was the first one that I actually won. Like that was my
Is that one still all exterior, or did you actually?
No, that one was a good system because it was 50% based on your interview. So it was a panel of people that you sat across and they would ask you questions. So 50% interview, and then they had evening gown, they had sports, they did not have swimsuit, and they had onstage question, and I think that was it. So it was heavily based on your interview, which is much better than Hawaiian Tropic.
Is this magazine representative of how you see things with the cutouts?
This magazine, I have always been interested in marketing. I had a marketing minor when I was in my undergrad, and so all of this magazine, I cut out all of the skin that we see every day through these magazines, and then the canvas is all the skin that was found in that magazine glued up. So you can see the variety
In one magazine?
in one magazine.
How creative.
Oh my goodness. Whoa.
I left here, went to New York. I didn't know anyone, just decided that this was my next big adventure. The program was fantastic. I learned so much because I was still making pieces like this, and when I got there, one of the first things that we did was we sat down and we showed our peers and our professors our artwork that we did to get into grad school, and they critiqued it. And one of the things that sticks in my memory was that these pieces are just playing the same game as a normal magazine. Like, yes, you're using Hillary Clinton, but you're using it the same way that our society is already using women. You're making them sexy, you're making them a homemaker. You're putting them into this box that women are already in. So your challenge while in grad school is to still talk about women and your role in this world, but do it in a way that is not fitting into the stereotype already. So, I started, while I was in grad school, I had always been a painter. Oil painting, I tried sculpture and ceramic as an undergrad, and I can't do sculpture, I don't get it. I'm a painter. One of my teachers came into my first week being in grad school, and I think they do this to you just to see, but she came in and said, oh, you can't paint. You just can't paint. You should do something else. And I think it was a test, because if you're a painter, you're like, oh no, I'm a painter, I can only paint. But for me, I was like, well, maybe I'll try something else. I have all these different resources here at Pratt. I have a great facility, I have all these classes I could take. I'm going to try something else. So I started doing printmaking, and the forms that I was using were forms that I was taking from video games and comic books, how they sexualize women, where they give them very tiny waists and very voluptuous boobs and long hair, all these things that we see but women don't really look like. So I was using these forms and then collaging on top with things that I would cut out of the magazines that I felt talked about these forms. And this one, the right-hand side was a collage with actual makeup. So this strip, that's all mascara, and there's a fake eyelash you can't see, and this is lipstick. And then this is all images of makeup from magazines that you would find in magazines. Does anyone recognize the silhouette of the form? Does it look familiar?
It does.
This is Daphne from Scooby Doo. So it's a very well-known, iconic female figure.
This is collage.
Yes. So it's silk screen with the figures and then collage on top of
Okay, so
it.
you silk screen the blue and then collage on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really, if you guys have done silk screen, if you've ever tried to do one color, it's really hard.
It's easier just to print.
Exactly. So I didn't print make for very long, but I did do these. And then this was at the time when I had decided I had done Miss Bakersfield. I keep forgetting to tell you, Miss Bakersfield, I did Miss California, Global Nations, I won that. I won Global Nations, and then I got into grad school. At that time, after competing so much, I began to, because of art and the feminist artists that I were looking at, like Barbara Kruger, I started to question why I was doing pageantry. What was the point? What was I getting out of it? Was I still getting what I needed out of it? Was I wearing makeup every single day because I wanted to, or was I wearing makeup every day because I felt like I needed it because I had to be beautiful every day? And I came to the conclusion that I was wearing makeup every day because I couldn't go without it because I was embarrassed if I didn't have makeup. And so this was what pageantry had done to me. I had to be a certain way. I had to be perfect because people were judging you all the time. Because if you win a crown, you spend a year being that title holder. And you have to look a certain way every time, because in your contract it even says, don't go out in public in sweats. Don't go out in public in your PJs. No flip-flops. You can't go barefaced to a pageant event. So there were all these very strict rules that came with being a title holder. And by grad school, I decided that I was going to try and not follow these rules anymore. So most of my experience while at Pratt, I didn't go to class with makeup. I went to class in sweats, and it was an experiment for me to not have to be comfortable in my own skin. Yeah, I'm breaking out, but so what? I don't have to be beautiful all the time. I am an intelligent young woman, and that's okay. I don't have to have this other thing on me.
And beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly.
That's right.
And my daddy thinks I'm beautiful. So I started looking at pageantry and my experience, and I wanted to begin to make art about my experience in the hopes that other women could rethink their own rules. Whether it's pageant women, whether it's young girls who are looking at pageant women or models. When I would do pageantry, I had crazy diets, and so I really wanted to talk about all this wrapped into one. So I was looking at pageantry, and I was really interested in kind of this almost grotesque form that it takes eventually with all the makeup, and the images that I was using for the lipstick pieces were all images of winners. And they look like they're in pain, but they had just won. So they're the happiest that they have ever been, but they look like they're just in pain. And part of that was me realizing that they now have a whole year in the spotlight, that they now have to follow a contract that they then sign. So these are done. I got a bunch of photographs, and then I sat in front of a camera and made all of the expressions, printed them on canvas, and then went over them with lipstick, kind of how we do. So started barefaced, and then put the makeup on me, but in a grotesque fashion. I was trying to make it look like I had felt. I didn't bring this one because it's in a show, but these are all fake eyelashes that I had then glued on me.
So you put real lipstick on there?
Mm-hmm. So if you touch those, you'll get lipstick on your hand, because lipstick's really, it takes forever to dry.
So you don't spray it or anything?
No. Mm-mm. And then I wanted to kind of start using materials that I had around me already. This was a photo that I found on one of my old cameras that my little brother had taken a long time ago, and he was making fun of me doing pageants. Well, now I get to use his face as part of my artwork. So I covered him in glitter and entered him into a Who's Afraid of Feminists show in New York, and he got in, so he got to hang in a New York gallery for a while. And then also I started taking the photographs from when I was doing Hawaiian Tropic when I was 12 and 13. And again, I wanted to use another material that I had, which are the cards that you get in Vegas that are selling women. And I wanted the concept behind it was how I felt, how, maybe not at the time because I was so young, I didn't realize what was happening, but I was only being judged on my physical appearance, and then I got an award for that. And so these cards that I had collected at Vegas that were selling women, I thought would go together. So this is a photograph of me when I won a little trophy, and then it's a collage over. And those are over here. And this was kind of a turning point for me because I realized that I was trying to figure out why I liked pageants, because a part of me loved doing pageantry and a part of me hated it. The part of me that loved it was the performative action. I loved performing. But then the side that I didn't like was being restricted to a certain look. And so this piece was really kind of me realizing what I liked about it too. And so I couldn't say that I completely hated pageantry, because on one end I love it, the other end I don't like it. And so I was feeling in between both worlds. And it was interesting, my male professors at Pratt said, you have to choose. You cannot be in between. You can't have a love-hate relationship with something because it doesn't make sense. I said, well, that's how I feel. I can't choose and pretend like I don't feel this way. And then I had one of my teachers, the same teacher who said you can't paint, said, well, and I love her. We got over our you can't paint statement. And she said, well, now that you have all these emotions about your pageantry, you have to now go back and do a pageant. Because now you hate it, but you want to, so go and do another pageant and just do it as an experience. So I said, okay. And I ran for the Miss New York World competition. And then I won. And I went back to her and I said, I won and now I'm stuck in this box again. And she's like, no, this will be great. You'll have all this new material. So it's like, all right, fine. So now I had to go to the nationals. I had to go to the Miss World America pageant. I did not win that, thank goodness. It was a wonderful experience because I did have so much material that I could work with as I was going through the motions of being a title holder. I used the contract I had to sign, I cut it all up. There's a couple pieces in my studio that you'll see that have the contract. I had a modeling contract that had all these terrible things about gaining weight and wearing makeup and acne and just all these things that I was then able to use within my artwork. It was interesting to be in the pageantry, to have seen it from Hawaiian Tropic, which they don't have children's pageants anymore. They got rid of those. They still have the older women, but it's interesting to have seen the progression that pageantry came within my participation of it, where now they're getting rid of swimsuit. Now they don't have children's pageants where babies are being judged on their physical beauty. So they're making changes, and a lot of women love pageantry because they like getting dressed up, they like meeting the other girls, it's exciting, and it's nice to see that they're trying to rethink how to make it more of a modern thing that women can still do and not be dated with contemporary society's thoughts.
the project?
So that was really exciting. That was my first performance piece ever. And I really wanted to show the relationship between the two worlds that are different but are very similar at the same time. So this was also a series that I was working on too, is when I was going without makeup, it really made me think about how much makeup that I was wearing. And so I started a series where every day I would put my makeup face on, and then at the end of the day, I would take one of the makeup wipes and take off my face, and then hang it on the wall. So then I could see how much makeup I was wearing every day, and some days I wouldn't, and then look at my calendar and what was I doing that day that I had to feel like I had to wear makeup, and just the kind of gross feeling of how much I was wearing was really interesting to me. So this was like a month each day of how much and what I was wearing, and then I asked my roommates to do it too, and then I wonder if I have it. Oh, that's a close-up. So I obviously wear a lot of foundation, a lot of eye makeup, whereas my other roommates, one doesn't wear any foundation, but she would wear a lot of eyeshadow and lipstick. So hers were very different. And I ended up taking all of these makeup pads and sewing them together like a quilt. So I had this huge makeup pad wall that was pretty gross. But because there was hair in them,
That's far out.
and I ended up doing another performance video where I had all my peers. Maybe I'll just show it.
Yeah.
This isn't very long.
Here's your final question. What for you is the essence of
You were
being
given
a
a
woman?
chance to choose.
If you could change one thing about your body,
But not too smart,
I think plastic surgery has affected it.
or very smart and not too beautiful. What would you prefer to be and why?
My tummy, because it's fat. My least favorite body part is my bottom.
I'm going to show you a
My
way
nose.
to put your makeup on in
Wait,
under 30 minutes. So no matter how much time you have, whether it's in the back of school, going to
Can't
work,
stand my ears.
errands, you don't know what
They
time
don't
to
match.
kids, whatever this is, you can get your makeup done super fast and outdoor and look a little extra fabulous. And no matter what you're going to do. We might get started with the tutorial in a little while, so that will be at the end. But I want to get started with the tutorial, so I'm going to go ahead and show you all the products I'm going to be using now. That way it won't take time when the timer is going to be explaining and holding and telling you the names and everything. Let's get started. See, I was going so fast, I didn't put earrings on foundation. And I use it. Not every day needs to be an earring day. So I just like it. I like this better than their actual
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our concealer or foundation, I'm using
and then I'm also
foundation,
going to be using
apply it around the mouth, around the nostrils, anywhere where you need concealer. My camera did not record when I applied it on the eyelids, but that's the key and important part, so make sure you get from the lash line all the way up to your eyebrows. It probably took another exercise to see, and then your powder does have your eyes, and really cover the eyelids, that's going to act as your eyeshadow also. So slightly around the base where everyone has the extra coverage, really make sure you get the whole eyelid area. The next step is we're going to take our gel liner, and you can use any of your favorite eyeliner types. I decided to gel from it. It's not accurate. Mine. This is a problem because it is slowing down from that. It's just a really pretty, it's just a really pretty, like crazy because it doesn't use.
minus 1 minute.
Yeah, that's creepy.
I was starting to feel anxiety watching.
Yeah, good.
The message was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Very good.
The audio I had spliced together makeup tutorial videos and some of the pageant videos and some people interviewing other women. Oh, what don't you like about your body? But I'm glad that you feel that way.
Underneath the moon, underneath the stars, here's a little heart for you. Up above the world, up.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, I was watching it, and at one point I wanted it to be off. It's like, I don't want to watch that anymore.
It was like locusts attacking a bug or something.
Coating you with poisonous substances.
How'd you feel going through it?
I was very, very nervous because this was one that we didn't do a rehearsal. And so I did not know what was going to happen. I didn't, everyone else had the masks on because I was being sprayed. And I had one in my back pocket just in case I needed it throughout the performance if I was getting sick or anything like that. So I was going to do it for a longer period of time, and I had one professor say, well, don't kill yourself. So after that, I had to sit on the pedestal and get a critique of that work, and I just looked crazy. I had to walk home like that and take a shower, but I had left glitter all over my campus too.
That was really good.
I have two comments.
Sure.
The first one is with your last performance piece, it made me recall maybe 25, 30 years ago, Naomi Wolf's definitive study called The Beauty Myth, and how images of beauty destroy women. And this is probably before you were born, et cetera, or whatever, but there are significant books and studies of that nature that go hand in hand with the symbolism of that last piece of performance art.
Yeah.
The second thing that I want to say is I am so touched, and I think we all are, with your candor and sensitivity in sharing with us your evolution as a human being and woman, and I really thank you for that.
Thank you. I've read The Beauty Myth, and it's fascinating. If you haven't read it, it's a great book. It's called The Beauty Myth. It's a book. It's on Audible, if anyone likes Audible books.
Well, and recently I can't remember, I think it was on there, one of the things I listened to, they were talking about, there's a recent study showing how women's magazines, they took out the actual readable content, substantive content, and separated it out from advertising. And I think the advertising was somewhere around 80%. So they showed the thickness of the bows and so on, and the thickness of a little bit of content. It's just kind of horrific.
And I want to make sure that for me, it's because I'm a woman, I can talk about this as a woman, but men face similar issues as well. So I have a hard time talking about a man's experience, but I do want to say that we know you have a struggle too.
He runs through an awful lot of mental.
Yeah, I can tell.
The GQs.
So I'm gonna maybe show a little snippets of these couple. These are they're not performances that I did, but they're video art pieces. And again, it was me kind of experimenting with the products that I was using for pageantry. So I'm going to speed through them because we're running out of time, but
There's got to be a better way to take those off.
You're still putting some horrible chemical
Okay.
for an hour and they come off.
So that I took off all my acrylic nails that I had gotten for my Miss New York World. So this is when I had them in, and I'd woken up several times with huge knots in my hair because of the extensions with these little beads. You have to when I got them out, you could just feel how much less of hair that I had because it just pulled out all my hair. Yeah, I'm gonna speed through them. It's my typical pageant walk, so I've been trained by pageant coaches. This is the way you walk, this is the way you walk, this is the way you walk. So it's me practicing, but in all different kinds of shoes. So I go, there's a progression of heels.
I was going to say that's not for women. It's not for women. They say it's not for men.
Are these all your actual shoes?
Yeah.
Sure.
Those are shoes I wore on stage. Because the dress that I had gone with my pageant coach, because I got a pageant coach, we picked out, you had to wear 9-inch heels to wear this dress on stage, which was like 20 pounds. It was crazy.
Did you just shorten the dress?
Not really. They always say that you have to fit the dress doesn't fit you. In the pageant world, that's how. Oh, okay, so this was my next step when I was thinking about materials. So I was using all these materials, pantyhose, the 2 eyes are hair buns that women use to make a nice big bun. And I was trying to make a human body, like how I felt with these materials. They're all pantyhose. That one is over there. These are the under things that I would wear. This was the hair that I had worn. I hate that hair. So this is my thesis show. And I have a few images. On one back wall, I showed all my video pieces, my performances, And then the rest were still talking about the body and talking about feelings with the body as far as beauty. With these pieces, I kind of was just trying to abstract a thought, and then the pieces in my thesis show were also incorporating an emotion to the body too. So with these pieces, all the shredded paper that are in these pantyhose are shredded pieces of paper from, I was working at a international office, and they would shred all the passports, visas, all a person's information that they had to bring into the country. So an identity of this person, they would shred all these papers, and I would take them as this person. These papers were what made these people. They were all women. I made a pile for just women. And then I would shove them into pantyhose, which is kind of how I felt being shoved into a lot of my clothing, until they would break. And then they would break, and I would hung them up so that as I was shoving the paper in, they would start to spill out. And it was kind of about breaking out of this box that we have been put into. And then I went dumpster diving and found all these mannequins. So I used a lot of the mannequins to make the body that I was trying to make with the pantyhose sculptures. This is all the hair extensions that I collected from all the pageant girls, and made it into a chandelier. The top braid I did buy because it's an 8-foot long wig, but all the rest is hair that has been worn on a pageant girl's head. So these are different pieces. These are pantyhose fashion pieces that I was making, and I'm still working on a fashion series of clothing that can actually be worn. Could actually be worn, but kind of this idea of always trying to be smaller. When I was dieting, I felt like I was dying because I was on this strict schedule and I got down really far, but I just felt like I was this tiny creature. So I'm much happier now that I can eat a lot. I had a donut for breakfast today. This was the window piece, and that incorporates a lot of my contracts text that people can read, and I would hang it on the windows. There's two different performances. The one on the left, all my family members were coming to my thesis show, from my 80-year-old grandma to my 30-year-old cousin, and I asked all of them to participate. I bought all these weird beauty promising products like face masks and salon capes, and this is me. And this thing is supposed to help your neck fat, and these things in your mouth are supposed to help your wrinkles. I thought that they were very strange. But then this other piece was an identity project, and I had always, because I was in pageantry, there's one type of look that I could have. And it's the pageant girl look. And so this project was me experimenting with different ideas of beauty. So like a punk idea of beauty, or a hipster idea of beauty, because they're very different than what I had been contained to. And so I did a beauty tutorial video with each look. Oh, it's 12. They're on my website, so you can go look at them. Oh, and that was notes. So, that's it.
Thank you.